Hey everyone, it's Lucas. It is a pleasantly rainy day, and today I'm going to be working on some projects in my trailer. If you hear some strange beeping going on in the background today, that is because the smoke detector needs a battery, and I've got some weird electrical stuff going on in the bathroom with the water heater. I'm running low on battery already as I'm starting this video, so chances are I'm going to get my projects out, lay them out, explain to you what they are, and then probably take a break and charge up my camera and battery stick. There goes the smoke detector. And probably while that's charging up, I'm going to run out and grab a 9-volt battery and get that smoke detector up to snuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. Typically, when I'm having a hard time, stressful as things are at the moment, I like to just do something to distract myself that doesn't really require too much brain usage. I just like to work with my hands, get a little audiobook going, and just get focused on that. I've got quite a few projects here in the trailer that I've been wanting to get started on and just not made the time to do, but it's a beautiful day right now, and what better time to start than the present? So that's what I'm doing. Stay tuned for the projects that I've got kind of working, in my brain and that I'm about to get started on today. I'm not going to finish everything today, and that's something that I'm content with. I like having an ongoing project that I can return to over time. If you have questions in the comments, leave them. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I will list everything that I have here, the links to it, in the description below. If you see something that you really like, please know that I do get a bit of a commission off of that if it's an Amazon link. It is an affiliate link, which is one of the ways that you can help out my channel or help me out in general. Like I said, times are really tough right now. My spouse is a government worker, and I just recently lost my usual monthly income. So anything that you can do to help would be tremendous. It's a bit of a mess right now, but you're about to see me set up that mess here in a moment. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy this installment of Fine I'll Do It Friday. These are components for the bathroom. These are the storage components I plan on using over here on the side of the cabinet. These are racks that I plan on using on the front of these cabinets here. They're a little wide. Maybe down here. For things like tea and spices. Although I might actually put them over here. I feel like that might work better. These are stuck together at the moment. But these are going to go on the inside of the under sink cabinet to hold cutlery. This is a super cute kitchen curtain that I had initially planned to go across this window here at the sink. It's not wide enough though, so maybe we can put it here. Oh no, it is wide enough. It's 2 panels, so that actually will work. Fantastic. These are for tea specifically. You can see they're sectioned out. And I'm thinking of where I want to put them. I haven't decided officially yet. This one we actually had in our other trailer, and it was amazing. It's just a little paper towel holder. So we'll need to measure it out. It might sit here. It might sit under here. I think that's probably the most likely. Even here might actually be a good idea. I don't hate that. It blends in too. Just makes it a little bit of a fire hazard, which is something I'm very wary of. Here is another option. I think I actually like that one the best. These are folding hinges to expand the counter space. I'll show you down here. Pardon the trash if you end up seeing it. The idea is that this, which came with the trailer, will be able to be sitting out like so and folded in like so. But it's going to need a little bit of cutting, and I think I'd like to repaint it. This will help extend the amount of counter space available. It does get a little bit in the way of the couch, which you are sitting on right now. But what's cool about it is it can also serve as a desk space with that couch. So you can see here, if this is folded out like so, now you've got a desk space, or an eating space, or just a storage space with that couch. This is a jackknife couch. It does fold out into a bed. This would need to be stowed before somebody's laying on it. But I think it could be useful. It is something that I have wanted to do for a hot minute with this trailer. That project probably won't get completed today because it is a little bit more involved than what I'm looking to do right now. If you're the type of person who is watching me do these types of projects and you're thinking, man, I would really love to be able to do something like that, but I don't know where to start, I want to tell you that you're not alone in that mindset and way of thinking. I also felt that way when I first came into ownership of a trailer. I wanted to be able to do some work with my hands when it came to things like metal and wood and power tools. Because of the unique situation in which I grew up, I didn't get the opportunity to obtain those skills through parental teaching, and the type of work that I went into was primarily service industry work, which didn't really involve working with my hands. So I found myself in 2020 wanting to do things like build my own bed, build my own furniture in general, and just be able to fix things that were broken. I was scared to start. I was just afraid to try anything by myself. My now spouse, then boyfriend, really took the time to teach me how to work with my hands. Ultimately, I figured out through working on projects with him that no matter whether a YouTube tutorial is teaching you or somebody that you know in person is teaching you, you are always going to mess up. You will always make mistakes, especially as you start learning, and you're never going to get it right the first time, but it's good to accept that you probably won't, and that's still okay because you're learning. The only way to learn is to get your hands on it and start doing it, and I know a lot of people probably have already said that to you, dear viewer, but it is worth keeping in mind that working with your hands is a skill you can only gain by working with your hands. If you're seeing me work on projects and you're like, wow, I wish I could do that, the answer is you can. You really can do that. Even if nobody's taught you, even if you're just watching a YouTube video, even if you're just looking up on like how to or Reddit, you can. You can do it, and it's not as scary as you think. And there are always ways to fix mistakes. You can patch drywall. You can seal up holes. All of that is stuff you learn by working with your hands and by making mistakes. Thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk. I'm going to go back to working on projects now. Alright, I'm back. I went to the store. I got the battery. Looking good. No more beeping coming from there. While this setup was charging, I went ahead and installed the curtains. There we go. I installed those curtains. I think they look really nice in that space. And now here I am at the store. I also grabbed some command strips and hooks because I'm running low on those, and honestly, I have a feeling they're going to come in handy for specifically mounting stuff on this cabinet. I really don't want to drill holes into the cabinet itself because I feel like that would be, I don't know, just not super conducive to reselling this if I have to. So yeah, we're just going to use some adhesive and see how it goes. Okay, replace the battery. Whew. My ears. Okay, that should have fixed it. Fingers crossed. Okay, so this T situation has little hooks here, and that's going to require us to use a level and also to measure the distance. I don't have a measuring tape on me at the moment, but we can use things like this box. It'll just need to be a little bit bigger than that box. And that's kind of not the most effective way to do things, but it is definitely a way to do things. So let's do this here. All right, that's a good angle, I think. While I'm doing this, I'm going to be listening to my audiobook, so you just hang out, get to work on your thing, or if you're just here to watch me work, enjoy watching me work. I've actually decided to go with Velcro. These guys are great, because we can adjust the position a little bit better. And it's white, so it'll blend in. I want to go with the bigger ones. I've also got these little wall baskets that I want to hang in the bedroom to be storage for things like keys, socks, so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to do next. So I just listened to Star Wars Light of the Jedi and just finished it, so it's time for me to hop on to the next book. Path of Destruction by Drew Karpyshyn. Okay, so we've got these really long screws and anchors. Because the trailer's interior is comprised primarily of either particle board or more likely just plywood, I'm not going to worry about using these anchors. Those are really good for drywall. Instead, I'm just going to screw straight into the wall here, and I'll use that to install these. But I want to make sure that they're set up how I want them to look, and so in order to get the right kind of vibe, I will close this curtain. I have a similar print in my room as a quilt. I love this print. It's vintage, 1980s. It's amazing. Anyway, now I kind of know where that is going to be, and then we can decide how we want these to hang. I want them to be something that I can see, but I need them to fit as well. I might end up doing them along the side here. The side of the window is probably going to be my better option. I'll need to find a new spot for the fly swatter, but that's not too big of a deal. So, like this. I actually really like the idea of hanging these here. Let me see if they have different sizes. I don't think they do, but this might be the larger one. Yep. Okay, so we're going to hang two. I don't know how well you can see what's going on here. Come on over here, my friend. So, little difficult to see. Obviously not super well lit. The idea is I'm going to hang each of these brown guys right here on the side of this curtain. I'm not going to use the anchors, just the screws. And we'll hang them 1, 2, 3 all the way down. The trailer is set up for 3 of us to stay. Technically, we could sleep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 people if 2 people were comfortable sleeping on that fold-out jackknife couch together. The way this is set up is for 3 people, myself, my partner, and our kid, to live here comfortably for a week or 2. So I might actually separate these out so that there is one for each person in the trailer for socks and underwear, and then this large one here, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it just yet, but we'll get that figured out. I'm going to maybe hang these next to each side of the bed. Now I'm having decision paralysis, which is a lot of fun. I'm sure you can relate, dear viewer. Seems like I did fix the smoke detector, so that's good. Obviously this isn't the best view because I've got this curtain hanging out here, but I'm sure you can see well enough. What I'm thinking of doing is on the outer wall of each nightstand is where I will hang one of these for things like socks and underwear, just to make it a little bit more easily accessible. And I will do the same for the top bunk on the other side of the trailer. So I can't see what you're seeing right now, but I'm sure that you see the bunk somewhere in there. So let's start with this side here. And let's just make a decision. I'm thinking of hanging it right here next to the window. Probably a decent spot for things like electronics too, if you wanted to put your electronics there. So that's what I'm going to do for both sides of the trailer. So in order to do this, I'm going to need a couple of things. Obviously I'll need the hardware, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I will also need a drill. And Our screws have a Phillips head, so that's really easy. Okay, so that's nice and ready to go. Next thing we'll need is our hardware. Like I said, this is plywood, it's not drywall, so we won't need to use the anchors. My plan is to screw these screws straight into the wall. This is an exterior wall, which gives me a little bit of anxiety drilling into it, but these screws are not long enough to reach the outside of the wall. And the holes are already pre-drilled in our hook. So now it's just a matter of deciding exactly where I want to put these baskets. I want it to be even on both sides, but I am too lazy to measure. So we're going to use some hand measurements here. And by that I mean I'm just going to use my thumb to determine how far down I want that first screw to sit. I'm going to make a little notch there so that I don't lose it. Make sure my drill's going the right way. And because we didn't drill a pilot hole, which is something I can talk to you about later, we're just going to kind of slowly start drilling, but make sure we're putting a lot of pressure. Now that we've got a little bit of a hole going, the screw should just slide right in. Just got to make sure you're applying the right amount of pressure. Cool. So now that that's going in, I'm going to take it out. Slide it over. This is definitely not the most professional way to do this. So, you know, but we're just DIYing it. Okay. And we're not going to worry about drilling it in too tight. Is there really a need for that? I'm not even going to put in the second screw. I don't think it's necessary. Will the hook move a little bit without it? Yes. But do I care that much? Not really. Boom. Now we've got a nice little hanging basket for things like socks, underwear, phones, etc. Which is really handy in this scenario because when you come in to the trailer, you remove your shoes, you come over here to get into bed, you've got your socks, and you can just take them right off. You can stick them in here, or if you don't want to use this to put dirty socks in, you can use it to keep clean socks in which case you wake up, you're getting ready for your day, you don't have to go digging around in here or in your bag, you can just grab your socks straight out. So let's move on to the next side. Alright, the aim here is to give you a bit of a different angle. And so it's going to be a little bit wonky where you're coming from, but I'm sure you'll survive. Okay, so we're going to use the same measurement as before, which in this case for me, I just used my thumb to determine how far down I want it to sit from this board here. And make a little bit of a hole, a little bit of a mark there. And we're just going to start drilling. And we're just going to screw it in nice and tight. Great. Is it going to be a little bit wobbly? Sure, maybe a little bit. But again, we're DIYing it. We don't care too much. We just want a spot to hang this little basket. And we're going to try and tighten it a bit, but it might not. Because it seems like the wall here is a little different in composition than the one we drilled into on the other side. So that's not going to tighten anymore. But that's okay. Like I said, we're DIYing it, so it's not that serious. Now you can see we've got basket number 1, and it is a little bit hidden by the curtain over there, but we do have basket number 2. I just want to really quick show you our tea basket here. I absolutely loved it. I just walked by and saw it for the first time after installing it and taking a break from being in here. It looks great. It looks like it belongs in the space, which is exactly what I was hoping would happen. The next thing we're going to install is the final basket over in the bunk. So this one's blue. And I actually considered using this to hold fruits in the kitchen space, but I realized just how likely it would be to gather mold. So we're just going to stick it in the bunk space instead. And once again, we're just going to find a spot, drill a hole, and stick this guy right into it. So lighting here is challenging. I'm going to open this, see if that helps. Oh, see, that gives us tons of light in there, but you can't see what's going on behind me. So we'll pick that project up again later. I think I'm just procrastinating some of the bigger projects right now, to be honest. So let's stop procrastinating. And let's just do it. These two look really cute together and may actually end up on the fridge or something. We'll see. But we're putting that project aside because it is now time to install some spice racks. I've been kind of on the fence with exactly how I want them to be set, but I'm thinking just right here on this back wall will be just fine for spices. So these guys come with screws, but I'm not really wanting to use the screws. I've got these right here, and I think they're going to be a lot more useful and a lot less likely to damage the trailer. It looks like there's 4 of the right kind of hook in there. I'm just going to remove these, detach them, throw them in my toolbox to be used on other projects later on, and see if we can't get these spice racks set up with command strips. The other option was to put the spices up here, but they don't fit in this line here. I could put them down here. The other thing that I was concerned about was, like, if this is centered, it's gonna hit. There's nowhere it can sit that it won't hit. And if I put the spices here, they still need to clear this cabinet. So putting them down here, I think, is what's going to be the correct option. Or maybe along the side. Man, I still haven't decided. So putting them along the side, I think, is actually going to be the best option, just because putting them back here, that would limit space for things like oils, cooking oils and such. So we'll stick a spice rack here and a spice rack here. Or maybe move them a little closer. I'll center them as best I can. But yeah, sticking the spice racks back here might actually be the correct choice in terms of making sure that I save counter space. So that's what we're going to do. And worst case, it's command strips. So we just take the strips off. 4 command strips, 4 command hooks. And we're going to use a pen or a pencil. Alright, in lieu of a pen, pencil, or Sharpie, we're going to put a little tiny mark using a screw. This is basically just what it looks like when you have a gremlin doing handiwork. Basically just, like, really bad at planning. Alright, mark number 1, and we'll try and make that level. Where's that level? There you are. Alright, mark number 1. Level it out. Mark number 2. Easy as pie. It's always the tedious part. There we go. Wall side first, and we'll just center it on that dot. Probably not the most accurate method of doing this, to be honest. And where are you at, dot? Center it on that dot. Ooh, a little spicy, that one. Okay. Now we'll just line up the tops here. Alright, so the way that it's set up, in order for it to be level, I need to have one hook down here and one hook up there. And we can make that work. Make sure these hooks fit. Yep. Pressing them in. They say 30 seconds. Once again, this is what it looks like when you have a gremlin doing your work for you. Now that doesn't look right to me, but the level don't lie. So yeah, no, that's basically level. It's close enough. Good enough for government work. And there you go. Spices, part 1, complete. I'm not in love with the way that it looks, but can't say I hate it either. Alright, so that's Spices part 1. Should I have done this on the fridge, maybe? No, I feel like that would get people as they're walking by. We'll do Spices part 2. Much the same way. Stick our little eyeball guy right back where he goes. Alright. Leaning in here. Enough space for the spices to be brought out. Mark number 1. And somehow replacing that battery just was not enough for that smoke detector. Alright, let's see if I can find that dot again and make it a little bit more obvious. Alright, there she is. There she is. Let's do it. Okay, we're going to line this one up a little bit better this time. Alright. Right there. Right at the top. And we'll do the same for the second one here. Okay. And last bit. Well, second to last bit, I guess. Yep, that's even right there. Or as even as it'll get. It's interesting because it doesn't look even in comparison to the hood here. But the way that it hangs is flush with the walls, so with the line of the walls anyway. So that's not too big of a deal. And, you know, I could be showing you all kinds of cool angles of me installing this, but I am not. And that is simply because I am lazy. I have a little bit of laziness going on. Okay, now alright, so now we've got our spice racks, spice baskets, and our tea container installed. We've got some baskets installed. And I think the last thing I want to do before I start tidying up is I'd like to use those command hooks and get these guys in place. Really only need one, I think. But the idea is, I'm going to throw it on the ground. The idea is that, while this is up on the wall, we can house things like foil, Ziplocs, and such. And I believe that's all we've got so far. So we can just hang these guys up. The command strips have a mixed ability here. Sometimes they're fine, sometimes due to temperature fluctuations, they just drop everything. They stop working, they become too brittle. So we'll see if a command hook set of 3 or 4 will be able to hold this. Maybe this time I will try with Velcro instead and see if that holds it better. Before putting that up, I need to determine exactly where I would like to store my paper towels. I need to find the paper towel rack really quick. Which is a challenge because it blends in. It's dark and it blends in. But it is here somewhere. Ah, here she is. Alright, so we need to determine exactly where we'd like to store these. I'm actually thinking right here is going to be our best bet. So let's install those first. This is another adhesive situation, but it's pretty simple. We'll just line it right up like that. And that should not give us any problems from this point forward. I'm going to give it a full 24 hours for that particular adhesive just from my experience in the past. But here's how it'll look once that paper towel is installed. So, easy, usable, easy breezy, beautiful color. Might be a little bit annoying if it's a full roll with this situation here, but not the worst. Tolerable, we'll call it. Alright, so now we've got to get this situation set up. Could go a lot of ways. I'm going to use 2 screws on this. It's open here. So I'm going to use 2 screws to secure it right there. And that will hopefully solve the problem of our storage issues for these situations. I'm going to be exactly in your way. It's definitely a weird angle. Well, that's going nice and smooth. Gonna have to drill the fun way. Drills still work upside down. Messed it up. So there's that part. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is get this screw to catch on the lip here, but it's not working out. So we're gonna switch back to the Velcro idea. We're gonna use that screw, holds the weight. We're just gonna use the small ones so you can see what I'm doing here. Taking these and installing them on the product, like so. And then I will peel this portion off, slide this on, and use as much force as I can to press that in. That should be good enough. part 1, and then looks like we'll be able to add a second one right down here. Alright, now I will try tightening this screw. We'll see what it does. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good. You know, that's as good as it's gonna get. So now we've got all that security going on. Slide in our aluminum, as they say in the English places. And behold, we have storage. Okay, so now I'm just going to tidy up. Give me a minute to adjust, then we'll do an outro. And there you have it. One more final Do It Friday completed. We accomplished a couple of tasks around the trailer today, did a little bit of cleaning, and organized ourselves, got set up for the next task, which in this case is going to be mounting these cutlery containers on the inside of the undersink cabinet, or perhaps somewhere else to be decided. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you were able to accomplish some tasks yourself. If you like what I do here and you want to continue seeing this type of content from me, please hit that subscribe button, and also consider visiting me on Patreon. There's a little bit of extra in each tier, but ultimately just you hanging out, sharing the link, liking, commenting here on the channel, and for the Patreon is plenty enough for you to help me out a little bit. Times are tough for me, just like they're tough for you right now, I'm sure. So please be kind to me, but also be kind to each other, be kind to the people around you. And just remember that you don't really know what someone's going through, so just be kind. That's all I gotta say. Alright. Also, fuck fascists. Bye. Also, I do want to state that on this channel, I am anti-fascism, anti-capitalism. I do believe that there are more than two genders, that immigration should not be a point of contention, and that healthcare and education should be free. I also believe in universal basic income, and I hope someday to contribute to a society that allows for these things for its people, to include people who come and visit from other countries, and to include people who decide to stay from other countries. So, as of recently, there was a memorandum put out that effectively labels people like me as fitting into the category of terrorism. That's wild to me, because literally all I want is love, safety, health, and fulfilling life for the people around me and for everybody in the world. It's weird to think that's considered a terrorist ideology, but here we are. If you are in support of those things, as I am, welcome. If you're not, I urge you to consider your reasoning behind that and maybe read some books.